a bombshell coming to this case. There's a bombshell coming to this case. There's so much information the police know that we don't know, which they proved that, when they arrested this guy here, Bryan. But there's a lot, and I'm not a math person at all, but the math ain't mathing in this case. Like, to the investigators, maybe so, but I saw this one video clip and I'm trying to find it. I saw it on YouTube, but I'm trying to find it so I can fact check it. But it's someone, looks like it's an investigator saying that this case is going to shock a lot of people. And I'm just like, we're already shocked. We're like 100% already shocked because it's just so much. It's so much. But there's more coming. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. Mark my words. Mark my words. This case is going to shock a lot of people. This case is going to shock a lot of people.
According to court documents, Kohberger, quote, has long had a habit of going for drives alone. The defense alleges that's what Kohberger was doing the night of the murders, but can't give much more information. According to court documents, Kohberger, quote, has long had a habit of going for drives alone.
I used to go on night runs with him because, I didn't want to go running at night by myself. So I would text him, hey, you want to go for a run? We go for 6-7 mile runs at night. So, when I saw who it was, I was just in, complete shock.
The motion reads in part, quote, Mr. Kohberger is not claiming to be at a specific location at a specific time. At this time, there is not a specific witness to say precisely where Mr. Kohberger was at each moment of the hours between late night November 12th, 2022 and early morning November 13th, 2022.
Right. And there's no direct evidence linking him other than that transferred DNA on the sheath. The idea, as I stated already, isn't complete 100%, it's Bryan Kohberger. The white Elantra can't be determined to be his white Elantra. There's circumstantial evidence indicating that it could potentially be his white Elantra, but there's certainly not direct evidence. They don't have direct evidence that he's driving the white Elantra. They're using cell phone pings, which we all know as defense attorneys aren't GPS location coordinates. If it was GPS location coordinates, you're talking down to a meter as to where Bryan Kohberger was at the time of these crimes. Whereas a cell phone tower ping is that you're within a radius of that tower up to 20 miles. And obviously, Mr. Kohberger lived within 10 miles of the University of Idaho where these crimes were committed. So certainly he could ping at any moment in time near the actual crime.
In my mind, knowing the rules of evidence, at best, you can get someone up on the stand to say, yes, we looked at the cell phone history and there seems to be a habit of these late night drives to X and Y location. Some are to the university where the 4 victims are, some are to other locations. But to specifically say why this person is doing this, that would be speculation, and that's an objection. I've always made the point of, I think many of us have been to college, you go to, especially what we consider the party house, and after that, you find this person's sweater and this person's shoe and this person's wallet. Things get left at the party house all the time. And sometimes they're there just because someone picks it up in the surrounding area, thinks it's cool, and leaves it in the party house. Maybe that's how that sheath got there. Maybe it does belong to Bryan Kohberger, but it wasn't brought there by him. Maybe they can attack the DNA to say the DNA wasn't collected properly, cross-contamination, it's not him because they didn't analyze it correctly, whatever it may be. But I think that's another very large mountain they've got to climb to try to bring reasonable doubt to this case.
From some people that surrounded him, that there may have been drug use in his life prior as well. Did you know him to use drugs or anything like this, sir?
Yeah, he did use drugs. That's how I really know him too. He was a big heroin addict, and so was I. I got 6 years clean now. I work in treatment and everything, but back then I was using, and so that's how I know for a fact he was using. I've got high with him a couple times and used with him. And I remember one night we went out and his car broke down and his dad had to come out and he got pretty angry. Well, because his car broke down and everything and we couldn't get what we needed that night. And you know, I knew other people that dealt drugs and we would deliver drugs to him a lot. And so that's when I heard about this case. I haven't heard from him in so long. And then I heard about this and it said that he was going to college. I said, I haven't heard from him. I guess that's what he's been doing. He must have cleaned up. I know he was in and out of rehab a couple times, but he really did. He cleaned up and was going to college all these years.
Through the sliding glass door. But again, there appeared to be no signs of forced entry. Now he says, again, that forensic team is reassessing the house, looking for any potential additional evidence. In the meantime, he gave me an update on efforts to recreate a timeline of events and how the public will be a huge help in this investigation.
We understand the public's frustration about not being provided a lot of information. We are working to the best of our ability to actually provide as much as possible. We are working to the best of our ability to actually provide as much as possible.
We are working to the best of our ability to actually provide as much as possible.
Bryan Kohberger's defense team comes out early in the hearing and they say, hey, those 3 unidentified male DNA samples, we never got lab forensic analysis or any information on them. Where is the paperwork? We need all paperwork that is in relation to the genetic genealogy, right? They want all the documents. Makes sense. We're in discovery. You gotta ask for it. So Bill Thompson, for the first time ever, gets a little spicy. He basically says that you have everything that we have, and he felt like they're asking for something that he doesn't have in hopes that he could provide something, but there's nothing to provide. Like he told the judge, there's one lab forensics that they're still waiting on, and the judge was like, okay, well, touch base, make sure it's just that one outstanding, tell them about a timeline, and get that over to the defense as soon as possible, because the state doesn't even have it yet either. But then later, the reporter, Alex Caparillo, who's in the courtroom, tweets this comment. I wrote it down. Bill Thompson interjects to say that the 3 unidentified male samples were not qualified to be uploaded to the database. The defense says that's the first time they've ever heard of this. That they were not qualified. So then my friend, So then my friend Killer B was on my live and we were looking at this tweet and he says this, and quote, not qualified DNA samples may mean that there is something wrong with the samples. Now, he's just giving experience possibility. Why? The state is saying that these samples were not qualified. So the defense is saying they have never even heard of this. And automatically my brain has these flashes because it was the defense who rang the alarm to the public about those 3 unidentified male DNAs that were found in the house. Yeah, there are articles where Jay, who works on the defense, he's an attorney, he rang the alarm about those. And I remember when that happened because they told us that one of the male DNA that was found in a glove. And then I thought back to, which we never got clarification on or any touch bases on, when that detective who was retired walking by 1122 King was just walking around and he saw a glove that he pointed out to the people there working, right? But we never got clarification on that. But the defense brought this up to the public. I mean, I get it. If the defense hasn't gotten that information, it makes sense why they're asking for it. But the state's saying, yeah, well, they were not qualified. Who determined that they were unqualified? The defense already knows that. All right, here's one article. Bryan Kohberger, murder defense, DNA from 3 men, mystery glove found at crime scene, says lawyer. The lawyer, Jay. It's all just rather interesting. I thought it was really interesting too when Ann Taylor was like, she feels that they keep asking for things and they're, not getting any answers and it's very suspicious. And then I'm like, well, wait a minute, like Judge John up there needs, to me, he's like the referee, right? He needs to make sure that ball gets no red cards and travels correctly from both parties, like ensuring fair trial for the defendant. And the defense is saying that they feel like they're not getting the things they want and that it's suspicious. Like that just comes off to me like I'm gonna whine about it. I don't know. Interesting. Many interesting things. It's 7 p.m. Join me.